Hello and welcome back to the Media Box with me, Charles M. Ponser. As you're probably aware, the Congress of Local and Regional Authorities voted overwhelmingly by 144 votes to 22 to adopt a statement condemning Russia's annexation of Crimea in violation of international law. Now, the Bureau of Congress confirmed in the shape of President Herwig van Staar in a press conference that it will be moving its next scheduled current affairs and monitoring meetings from Russia to another member state. With me now to discuss the aftermath of the urgent debate in Ukraine is Anders KNAPE, Conservative Councillor in the Swedish municipality of Karlstad. Trevligt att träffas.
Ja, tack för det.
The rest of the questions will be in English, unfortunately. Okay. Now, the debate, 144 votes to 22, very comprehensive there.
I'm very happy with the result, because the results very clearly show that the Congress is very united in the position of this that has happened in Crimea, in Ukraine, is unacceptable, both from the point of view of the referendum and also the occupation of the territory from Russia. And from my point of view, we often say that local and regional authorities has a very important role to play when it comes to solve disputes, when it has to be a sort of cooperation between countries, between different regions and things like that, below the national government, that often the local and regional authorities are more successful in advocating the importance of peace, of what we call it, dialogue and friendship. You can see it in Greece and Turkey. You can see it in many places where you sometimes have a little bit of a hesitate relation between the central government. But on local and regional level, you can develop very good cooperation, understanding, getting people come to each other and get the knowledge, and also a peace-building process.
But how much weight politically will this declaration actually carry outside of these four walls?
I think it's very important. But that shows that if the national governments and international organizations on world level and things like that are discussing these issues, of course, you could have the impression that they are much more involved, and they could much more make progress in these issues. But of course, it's so important because we are closest to the citizens, and we have to react, because what we are now seeing is a situation that is one of the worst since the Second World War. It could influence other regions and parts of Europe, and it could create a situation that we will have very difficulties to handle. So of course this is important, because I have close relations to my government. A lot of the members here has very close relation to their governments, and of course we can influence. And I also think this could influence what's happening next week in Brussels when we have the Committee of the Regions, because the Committee of the Regions are also going to make a statement. But that is not as big as here, because here we are so many member countries and we are less in the European Union. But I think what we are doing here is very strongly influence also the Committee of the Regions to have a strong opinion about the situation. So I really think this is important.
Now you have, as you've mentioned a bit earlier, been particularly involved in the debate. You've also published an article in Sweden as well. What's your personal involvement in the whole Ukraine situation?
I visited Crimea 6 months ago. That was my second visit. And at that time, it was not a discussion about Crimea leaving Ukraine and be a part of Russia.
This was before the Maidan.
Yes, it was before the Maidan. And I must say my opinion is that these two visits I have made in Crimea I have got the impression, because I have met a lot of these people now that you can see on the screen, who are the leaders of this so-called revolution or the change in Crimea to go. When I have been there and I met with them, they haven't discussed this at all, not a word. And my impression is that this has been cooking for a long time, but they haven't talked about it so clearly, and they haven't been so outspoken and frank to people coming from other parts of Europe. So I was not foreseen. Yes. I was not foreseen that this was going to happen. It was going to happen so fast. My impression has been during this visit that they have told me they are part of Ukraine, but no, we can see they have been talking with double standards. Absolutely.
So, in concrete measures, then, what can the Congress actually do to help solve the crisis that is Ukraine, Crimea, Russia?
I think we could support the discussions going on different levels and in different groups on the international scene. And I also think it's important that we have a clear message, because for me, from my point of view, it would be very difficult to have representatives of Russia, for example, being rapporteurs, supervising in elections and things like that, because the problem here is that in the debate and in the discussion, all speeches, all interventions I've heard from the Russian delegates has been completely opposite from the view of the members of the Congress. And we have and I'm responsible for the credential. And if you are a member here and you want to participate in different activities of the Congress, you have to sign a paper that you are following and living up to the standards of the Council of Europe. And I think we need to have a debate about, if you don't live up to what you have signed, if you are taking actions and working against the spirit of the Congress and the Council of Europe, what is the value of your signature? And what are we doing?
So suspend their membership?
Or at least have a discussion. If you sign it and you don't follow it, could you then be a part of different missions in different fields, being a rapporteur in different fields? I don't think so.
So what do you see long term then? How do you see it resolving itself long term? Because that's a fairly short term measure. Do you see things getting back to some sort of equilibrium?
My big concern is what's happened the next month. Perhaps we will have a situation that calms down everything. And then, after summer, we can have the same situation in the eastern part of Ukraine. So I'm not sure that we have seen the end of this. Perhaps it's only the start.
Okay, thank you very much for your views there. Thank you very much indeed. Trevligt att träffas.
Trevligt att träffas, absolut.
Anders KNAPE there, Conservative Councillor in Karlstad in Sweden. Thanks for watching. Join us again soon. Goodbye.